Greetings and salutations, all you lovely individuals. Welcome back to another episode of League Unlock, flying on solo on today's epi as we get into the LCS following suit of the LPL. And no, that's not having incredibly high quality games, but it is going to Game 5, getting silver scrapes, a little bit of a banger, even though Game 5 against TSM and EG wasn't super close. But one thing the LCS has on top of the LPL after this first playoff series is we're seeing carry top laners, not just once, not just twice, but pretty much all three wins for Evil Geniuses. Revenge, probably the guy we've talked about the least on this new EG roster in 2023, but we're talking about him a lot after this series. In that fifth game, it was the spicy little Aatrox pick that has been absolutely terrorizing solo queue with one of the best win rates among all top laners, and Revenge was terrorizing everybody on TSM. They truly, number one, didn't seem to know how to play around this Aatrox, didn't understand how much damage and lifesteal this dude has, and to their credit, you know, it's been a while since we've seen Aatrox, but they could not kill him for sending 4 different guys. He's still popping Wild Turtle, who again, no way he expected what kind of damage he was doing. Maokai, Ornn, 280 carries was just not enough to ever deal with this Aatrox as he got so unbelievably ahead, and this Game 5 was the least close game of the series. Already a 7k gold lead around 16 minutes. Jojo Pion on the patented Silas after the Ahri was finally banned away from him in games 4 and 5, and he didn't really have to do much, to be honest. But, I mean, look at this 11k gold lead at 20 minutes. This is a 2v4 with Revenge and Jojo. And yes, okay, they have Baron minions, but a 2v4, and it becomes a 2v5 as someone else is TPing in, and Insanity just can't do anything. Nobody can do anything. They're getting kills in a 2v5. Look at the minimap. Unforgiven is just pushing the base and would eventually end the game, as not only is it the most dominant game of this series, it is the fastest at just over 21 minutes we're clocking in. Unforgiven's laughing because he's just killing the Nexus by himself. He's only got 6 out of the 17 kills. Didn't have to do very much when Revenge is getting 15 out of 17 and popping off on the Aatrox, Assume that's going to be something that's going to be banned against EG going forward as they show up in a big way in that fifth game. Still, I mean, that game was super clean, but you can say the series as a whole, EG is going to have to level up if they want to take the top dogs in Cloud9 Golden Guardians going forward in playoffs. But man, Revenge coming online like this, because this wasn't just Game 5 where you saw that. You go all the way back to their first win of the series. It was a Jax performance. He played Jax twice in this set, and he got super behind in CS both of these games to Hanser's Rumble. But guess what? Didn't matter, because my man was picking up kills left, right, and center. The highest kills for not just a top laner, anybody in all of the summer split. He ended up finishing Game 2 with 18 kills. He had a triple kill, he had a quadra kill, he had a penta kill to close things out, and you can call that going for the cycle in terms of League of Legends terms, as Jojo almost got a penta himself with the quadra on the Ahri. And this game is why the Ahri ended up getting banned finally against Jojo as this series progressed. But Revenge played these team fights so cleanly on the Jax. EG as a whole, this was another game that was pretty convincing in their way. Let's be honest, the 3 wins for EG were pretty damn good. It's the 2 losses where you're left kind of scratching your head, and you heard the comms, which are absolutely hilarious for this pentakill. We got some jokesters on Evil Geniuses, including Shaden, who just came into this lineup and looked pretty good in this series. I think he more than held his own against Boogie. Pretty safe to say we probably won't be seeing Armeo for a very long time, but we're almost talking a kill per minute in this second game. 26 kills in 29 minutes and a 15k gold lead. Revenge, obviously deservedly so, picking up MVP for this series, and he gets a pentakill on Jax. The first Aatrox we've seen all this split, and the biggest surprise is probably seeing anyone in NA pick up a win on Fiora, which is what the decisive third game to take a 2-1 series lead for EG was. And Again, he wasn't there for a lot of these team fights, but that's not the MO of Fiora. It's a split push machine. That's very much so what he was, as it was JoJo again. Surprisingly, after that incredible game 2, it took them till game 3 after game 4, to finally ban this Ahri out of JoJo. It was a clear comfort pick for him. He looked comfortable the entire series, but absolutely this is about revenge, and the rest of that EG roster stepping up in a big way. And if there is this avenue where they can fully play around top lane, I mean, sky's the limit for this EG roster, because this is the first kind of Immortals level sighting out of Revenge that we've seen, and that sounds like a burn, but remember, he was the lone bright spot for countless splits on those IMT rosters, so seeing him be a focal point for EG is an absolute treat. It only takes them to another level. Lots to clean up still for EG, and still some positives out of TSM. That Game 5 was lackluster across the board for them. Still think they're better than any of the losers bracket teams in 100 Thieves or Dignitas, but we'll see if they can complete the dream run to get back into winners for EG. It's on to the next round. Lots to improve on, but lots to be excited about for this squad as well. And living up to the hype. Just one playoff series, the very first of this summer split in the LCS, and it was definitely an exciting one. We get the next and final round of the summer split. We still got the season finals for the LEC, but Fnatic versus Team Heretics kicking things off, and this is both the most exciting and kind of the most tragic series that we're going to have in this year, because only one of these teams can qualify for the big season finals, which means only one of them can go to the World Championship, which is too bad because both of them feel like they are of top 4 caliber in the LEC right now. But you got to perform in the first 2 splits. That's the name of the game. Otherwise, only summer split matters. But in terms of who is going to win this one, who should be favored, I feel like this is basically a coin flip. If I'm going off of my head, I feel like Fnatic has more avenues and a more well-rounded team to take this one away. But if I'm going with my heart, I want to see Jankos. I want to see Flacket. I want to see Mr. Evie back on the international stage. I want to see Viteo perform against other world-class mid laners. So I'm going to side the way of Heretics. I feel like they have, Fnatic has all the momentum in the world as well, but I feel like Heretics are just on a blessed Cinderella run right now. Obviously, you need Evie to keep playing at the level he did in the last series, which is still... He's a weak side player, even when he's playing well, but he was much better the last 2 series for Heretics. You go back to the group stage matchup that these two had, and this was Fnatic ended up winning, but it was Viteo trying his damnedest in a 1v9 LeBlanc performance where he was absolutely popping off. I think even with Oscarinin looking good, and you'd say he has the big advantage against Evie, I think the most one-sided matchup in this series is mid lane. It's Viteo over Humanoid. We still, despite Fnatic looking leaps and bounds better than we saw out of them for 2 full splits, basically, Humanoid still hasn't had the consistency that Viteo had this split, and the peak levels we got out of Viteo are all pro level, hands down, no question. So that mid lane is a big advantage for them. And I think Flacket maybe picking something a little spicy in the bot lane. I think if you go fully traditional AD carries, the edge probably goes the way of Noah, just for positioning and knowing when to be aggressive and basically never getting caught out. But we've already seen Flacket play things like a Seraphine. Maybe that's not something we want to see coming, but I think this guy has the champion Ocean that can throw a curveball, which is what best of fives are all about, right? Is getting the other team to be not comfortable, and that is something that I think Heretics can do in pick ban, whether it's something Flacket picks up, whether it's something Viteo picks up in this still seemingly never-ending static Shiv meta. I think there's something he could throw out to kind of throw Humanoid and the rest of the Fnatic boys out for a loop. But either way, fully expecting this to be an incredibly competitive series. I truly am sad that we're not going to be able to get both of these squads, because I think they're both potentially world's caliber, at least coming out of the LEC. Again, we're not comparing to the LCK or the LPL, but it's just too bad, and maybe something we need to work on still with this format. But Chance for squads like SK and BDS to hopefully bounce back from what's been a disappointing split and a half now. But both Heretics and Fnatic are flying at an all-time high. XL still has to win a best of 5 to clinch themselves a spot in those season finals. And then, of course, we got G2 sitting pretty as that final boss who have locked their spot in these season finals probably like 2 months ago with how they performed throughout the first 2 splits. But going to be a very exciting finals weekend over in the LEC, and thankfully it doesn't even go all the way to Monday. We get those finals on the Sunday. We'll be back to break down all that action, but that is it today for League Unlocked. My name is Eric. You guys stay beautiful as always, and we will catch you on that flippity flip.